Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Ban from Retro Handhelds, or as you figured out by now, it's going to be Ban's Hands. And today we're going to take a first look and impressions of the ZPG A1 Unicorn. Now, you might have noticed there's already one over here, but this one was sent to me by our friends over at Retro CN. And this one specifically is going to be the pink colorway. Before we get into it, I just want to point out that you can get this from the ZPG AliExpress store for $130 plus shipping. Alongside that, you can also grab the case as well as a special TPU case. Let's just see if we can get the foam out of the way and we'll get our way through the plastic baggie. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of this color, but if you're looking for a nice flexible case, I don't think you really can go wrong with this. It is nice that they do include the cutout because if you look at the back, there is a fan. I have seen a couple of these cases where they just block it off, and honestly, that's really not a good thing. So case in a case, and now the case is out of the way. Before we get into, well, as we get into it, I'll just start rambling off the specs. You're going to get the MediaTek Helio G99 as well as the Mali G57 MC2. You're also going to find that it comes with 6 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of storage, and a 4500 milliamp hour battery. This one started out before the RG Cube, but over time, it just took longer and longer and longer. Cube came out first. Unicorn came out second, but it's kind of hard to pick up this color on the camera. Let's see, can I turn off this light? I don't know if that helps out a little bit, but this is a really nice pink. It kind of reminds me, well, I mean, if you guys know Kirby, that's going to be the one for you. In terms of comparison versus color-wise, yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with the pink colorway on this one. That's a lot nicer. I kind of have a couple of handhelds around here to get a bit of a size comparison because everyone knows that these 1x1 720p screens are just kind of what everybody's looking for, or at the very least, that's what I'm looking for. Next to the RGB 30, they're about the same size, though this one certainly comes with a couple more grips. On the back, definitely flat, definitely groovy. Put a cube next to it. It's a little bit of a bigger device, but not by too much. One thing though that Ambernick did pretty well was the grips on the back of this thing. This is Mondo comfortable. This, not quite as much. And of course, if you can't really talk about the G99 without bringing up the KTR1. Rather than a 1x1 screen, it's got a 3x2, but it's just flat. They share a couple of similarities, whether that's the clicky shoulder buttons, the light face buttons, or just the switch sticks in general. But that's just kind of a size comparison. So before we get there, let me just bring these all up so that they're all just right next to each other. And yeah, when it comes to sizes, KTR1's definitely the widest, the Cube's definitely the thickest, and the RGB 30 is definitely going to be the smallest. When it comes to what you get, on the bottom you get your headphone jack, your USB-C port, as well as your SD card slot. Up on top, it looks like you have power button, volume buttons, as well as a function button. Nothing on either side. On the top you get your nice and clicky... I keep forgetting how light and clicky these are. I don't know if this will help, but that's kind of what you get in terms of the shoulder buttons on the A1 Unicorn. When it comes to the controls, you get 2 switch style sticks. You get your A, B, X, Y clicky face buttons, and then you get the dish style D-pad. It's kind of hard to pick up as well, but depending on how you roll the D-pad, you can kind of see the mechanism underneath. Honestly, that's pretty interesting to me. On the front, looks like you have your home button and then your select and start buttons. The one thing I really like about the Unicorn, which is honestly the thing I like about most of these devices, is just this 1x1 screen. I really appreciate it for Game Boy Color, Game Boy. I've started putting my SNES and NES into 8x7, so it mostly fills the screen. But the one thing these still can't do, which is why I always come back to the RGB 30, is just easy native Pico 8. Perfect square screen for that. And while it's not perfect, it does that so well that it kind of just makes me not want to come back to the Android devices, because usually you have to go through WinLater or you're just using Fake 08 and RetroArch. Welcome. Hello. So it looks like they give you a few options on things to install. Usually I just kind of install my own things, but if you wanted to, you could kind of go through, pull through what you'd like. Though Dolphin, Aether SX2, those are usually good ones to have anyways. The setup wizard, it's kind of what you'd expect out of most of these Android handhelds, with the exception of some of the Anbernic ones where everything's just kind of installed right out of the gate. Oh, there we go. Touchscreen to continue, and it pops you right into, well, what's pretty bare bones for Android. Let's see, dpad works in the main menu, Google Play. I'm not gonna sign in right now because, well, you're watching. How easily does it pick up a micro SD card? I always suck at getting those things in, but what's going on? Issue with SD card. Yeah, that's gonna look a bit weird. I know you can't see this very well right now, but it's because the screen's super bright right now. Let's see, portable storage. Ooh, it wants to format the SD card right now. I am not gonna do that because this is a 1 terabyte SD card. Now I'm clicking on everything, so I'm just gonna turn it back off. First impressions of the ZPG A1 Unicorn. I am not personally the biggest fan of how light and clicky these face buttons are. I know Stubbs definitely liked them last time I checked. This dish D-pad, this dish style D-pad, honestly, I like it a lot. And it feels, to me at least, it feels a little bit better than the RG Cube. Though the RG Cube is also a more powerful device with the Unisoc T820 versus the Helio G99. When it comes to just kind of a first impressions, especially with these 4 devices, I would kind of say if you want to stick with the 1x1 screen, KTR1, regardless of if you can even get one. I just don't want to get that. But if you're just looking for a square screen and you don't want Android, that's where the RGB30 comes in. But these two, it's going to take a little bit of time to figure it out, but just kind of going off of early impressions with them together, it's hard. They're both really nice devices. Depending on what you want, though, you're going to have 2 completely different answers. If you do not want stacked shoulder buttons, well, that kind of makes it easy. These are clicky, these are not. If you want clicky face buttons, well, I mean, there you go again. It's easy. These are clicky, these are not. These are 2 really good square screen Android devices, and really, right now at least, I don't think you can go wrong, especially since, well, I mean, where else are you going to get this nice pink colorway? Because, I mean, compared to the creamy white, there's nowhere else you're going to get this. Overall, I am definitely a fan of the A1 Unicorn. I just think it needs a little bit more time to bake. It needs a little bit more time to get the Play Store working properly. It needs a little bit more time to get the setup wizard properly. Because I don't know if you noticed, but it took me through the setup wizard, but it didn't ask me for Wi-Fi, which meant nothing really installs. But it's still a good device, and I think this is going to be one that I actually end up using quite a bit, though I'll probably use this one a little bit more. Anyways, make sure to keep an eye out on the Retro Handhelds channel for anything that you might find from Stubbs or Zoo in regards to the A1 Unicorn. I know Zoo already has one out, and by the time this video is out, Stubbs might have a review for the A1 as well. This has been Ban Unboxed, and thank you so much for watching.